Turbo and 2K show.
What's up, 2K crew? It is that time of the week again, and yes, we have a full crew with us this week. 2Ks, hope everyone at the 2K crib is doing much better.
Yeah, talk about a pretty eventful week last week.
Yeah.
Everybody's, we're all back home. My daughter's back in school.
You're good.
Chel's back on her feet. Everything's good. Actually, Chel was a trooper through the whole thing. Like, I don't think she was really given a choice, but at the same time, I was like, why don't you just go home? I'm fine. I got this.
Yeah.
And Mama Bear was not
No.
allowing that to happen. But
No, I can imagine. Yeah, Mama Bear is going to stay nice and close
Yeah.
no matter what.
yeah, and she's tough and
Oh,
not,
yeah.
not tougher than me. I had my operation earlier in the year, and I was out for weeks. So she has hers, and she comes back, and not even an hour later, she's already up and doing everything she needs to do. So
Well, she's the jumping jack champion of Van Buren County.
that is true. That is true, and she'll let you know.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like being a vegan. How do you know someone's a vegan? They tell you.
Uh-huh.
You don't even have to ask. So yeah, Chelsea is definitely the workout version of a vegan. So, but no, everything over at the Turbo Crib went well. So yeah, I want to thank everyone for the T's and P's for sure. T's and P's for sure. And speaking of T's and P's, before I get off on a tangent and forget, Mr. Tim McCarver passed away today, 2Ks, at the age of 81. Joe Roberts tweeted this, one of the all-time greats, R.I.P. Yes, rest in peace, Tim McCarver. You will be missed greatly. And yeah, you were actually one of the ones that I really, really enjoyed listening to, even though you were kind of lumped in there with Joe Buck for a while. But dude called, I want to say, dude called like 23 World Series 2Ks.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
unbelievable.
That's crazy. And on top of that, to put up a Joe Buck that long, I mean, that's got to say something.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to say something. Well, 2K crew, you are with us. For those of you watching live, I do want to say thank you. And if you guys do want to comment, I can pull your comment up. We can feature you on the show. And for those of you on Facebook, go ahead and click the link that is from Ecamm, which is our streaming software, so that we can see your lovely face and your name. And we want to give a big shout out to this Facebook user. It says, "Have a good show, brother. We'll catch you next time." But yeah, if you guys do click that link, your profile picture and name will show up just like this. But yeah, for those of you that are listening on the audio side, I do want to say thank you, and go ahead and give us a like, a follow. And for those of you on Facebook, go ahead and give us hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, so you'll be notified every time we go live. Speaking of being live, 2Ks, we are yet again in the 643 studio here at the Marcellus News. So I do want to give a big shout out to the Marcellus News crew, Kay and everybody. If you guys do want to look into getting a subscription, go to marcellusnews.com. The link is in the description, and get yourself a virtual subscription or a paper mail subscription. It's the only newspaper in the world that cares about Marcellus, unless something bad happens. Well, 2Ks,
Is this year 3 for us too?
Yeah.
Because we started on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. And look how far we've come. We have a studio space, and when we started, we were in your basement, and you were wearing cat headphones.
Yeah. Pink
yeah.
cat headphones. Yeah.
Which, I mean, when we make it big, that's going to be a highly, highly sought after memorabilia piece. So hopefully you did hang on to that, and the girls didn't take it from you. Well, 2Ks, I pretty much told the 2K crew what we're going to be doing this week. It's kind of obvious. We're going to be recapping the Super Bowl, kind of go over the commercials a little bit, and then give you our take on where we see the season going next season. And we do have a very cool top 5 that we it was actually pretty fun. Actually pretty fun. So stay in there, lock in, grab a drink. And speaking of drinks,
Yes.
thank you, 2Ks.
You got it.
Thank you, 2Ks. 2Ks, let's jump into this recap here. Well, just to kind of give you a refresher here from what we talked about last week, I found it rather shocking that leading into Sunday, I want to say it was Monday, 76% of the money was on the Eagles. As of Friday, it went down to 70 and then went back up to, I think it was 72% of the money was on the Eagles. And you and I both picked Kansas City. You had them by 4, which your pick was a little closer than mine. I had them by a touchdown. So obviously, and the 2K crew that are watching here can attest to it. I was banging the drum on take the Chiefs money line because I want to say it was plus to take the money line and hammer the over. Lo and behold, both of those hit. And ask me how much money I won on my bets, 2Ks.
How much money did you win?
Not a fucking thing. I give the 2K crew all these winners, and then I decide to go in, and instead of just taking my own advice and just keeping it simple and just do a two-legger there. No.
Well,
I gotta go fancy.
Yeah,
I gotta go fancy.
Well, I did win.
I know you did.
I did win.
You always do.
And I rolled a $10 bet on a parlay. I was plus 5,086 on Kansas City on the money line. Obviously that hit. Isaiah Pacheco to be a anytime touchdown scorer. That hit. Devontae Smith, 50 plus yards. That hit. That hit just about in the first half.
Yeah.
Dallas Goedert, 40 yards receiving. That hit when he had the catch on the sideline that they ended up reviewing. Isaiah Pacheco over 40 yards. Isaiah Pacheco had a very good game. Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown. I think he had 3.
Yeah.
So he got that easy. Wish I would have taken the Jalen Hurts for 3
could not have handed
touchdowns.
the ball to Boston Scott.
Yeah.
Or who's the other guy?
Gainwell. Gainwell or Sanders. Sanders, yeah. Jalen Hurts, 40 plus rushing yards. I think he ended up with 70 some. Yeah. And Travis Kelce, over 60 receiving yards. He ended up with way over that. So, yeah, basically I had everything. I had all 6 pieces of that parlay had hit like at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So then it just turned into me being the biggest Chiefs fan throughout the entire fourth quarter. And and with that Eagles offense, it was a little bit scary there.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to Jerick McKinnon making a phenomenal play where he slides and gets down on the 1-yard line, doesn't go and score the touchdown, and they just eat the clock and everything left on it, kick a field goal as time expires, and it played out. It won, and so I was a very happy guy at the end of that.
Yeah, it was. I'm not to kind of step ahead here in the show, but I'm glad it was a good game because the commercials sucked.
Yeah, I agree.
The commercials sucked. They and like I said, we'll get to that here in a minute. But I tell you what, going into halftime, I was like, holy shit. If you would have told me that Pat Mahomes is going to throw for 182 yards, there's no way this team's winning. Yeah. There's no way this team is winning. And that was the one leg that I did not hit on the Pat McAfee's parlay was Mahomes over 225, I believe it was. Because I want to say Jalen was over 200, Pat was over 225. And I tell you what, that one was just checking them off.
Yeah, right out the bat.
Right out the gate.
Well, the first 2 touchdowns of the games were covered that, and
it's like hell yeah, let's go.
If anybody would have told me going into this game that Jalen Hurts would have more passing yards than Mahomes, I'd have said you're crazy.
Yeah,
he almost doubled him up.
Yeah,
so
because Jalen had 304 and 1 touchdown, and Pat had 182 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I pointed this out last week. This game was so hard for me to pick because of the fact that if this Eagles team would have beaten the healthy 49ers team, I think we all would have had a little bit better gauge on how good this team was. But we kind of all knew who the Chiefs were going into this. I think But if you look at rosters side by side, quarterback's better on the Chiefs, tight end's better on the Chiefs. Everything else goes to the Eagles. So I can see why there was so much money flowing to the Eagles. But I think what led me to the Chiefs was Andy Reid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hands
Andy Reid
down.
and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And, yards-wise, Mahomes didn't have it, but touchdown passes, he had those. He made all the throws that he needed to make. He extended plays. He played hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, playing on basically one ankle in that game. To me, what gave me the edge when I was looking in on this and putting out bets and kind of saying where I thought it was going to go, Andy Reid played a huge factor in that too. But these guys on the Chiefs have been there before.
Yes.
So where there's not very many of these guys on this Eagles team that have been in this situation before. If you look at this Eagles team, this team is a team that's built off of all draft picks. And all these draft picks have never played in a Super Bowl. Are they going to be back? Absolutely. I think so. I mean, Jalen Hurts puts up another year like he did. I see no reason why they don't come back to it.
No.
Jalen Hurts, I think he was the best player on the field.
100%. 100%.
I mean, you can make an argument that if you could give the MVP award to the loser of the game,
he
probably was the
it.
MVP. He made one mistake in that whole game, and unfortunately, it turned out to be very costly in that situation. But other than that, he was flawless.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great back and forth, and it really wasn't a back and forth. The Eagles jumped out to a big lead. Next thing you know, coming out of half, the Chiefs score on every possession they have, it seems like. And it literally did. I said this last week. I was like, this seems to me it could be a game that whoever has the ball last is going to win. And I know people say that a lot. I know they say that a lot. And I thought too with Andy Reid and the stable of backs that they have, and even with Kelsey, a lot of dink and dunk, a lot of screens, which they really didn't do. But I think we all can agree they ran the ball way more than I think any of us would have thought.
They ran the ball really, really well, and where you have to give the credit to Andy Reid is when they get down in those goal and go to situations, and how they are able to just get their key players wide open.
Yeah.
Like, everybody in the whole world knows that they want to get the ball to Travis Kelce. So you know that this defense has prepared for 2 weeks now to stop Travis Kelce. But somehow, some way, the guy ends up being schemed wide open all the time. That's coaching. That's not players. That's flat-out coaching.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
you bring in a player like Kadarius Toney, who probably played on the offensive side of the ball maybe 10 plays, ends up with a touchdown in the end. Nobody's even guarding him.
Hell,
Because there was a
Sky
complete-
Moore scored his first NFL touchdown.
Yeah.
In the Super Bowl.
Yes.
How cool is that?
There's a complete breakdown in the defense where a guy is just wide open.
Yeah.
That's coaching.
And it was the same play, just with different folks.
This Eagles defense is not a bad defense. They're one of the best defenses in the NFL. And coaching scheme-wise makes them completely just forget about one player on the field.
Yeah, I want to say that there was, because going into this, the whole moral of the story was sacks. And it looks like Kansas City had 2, and Eagles had none.
And the 2 sacks that the Kansas City had were Jalen Hurts running out of bounds and taking
Yeah, that's right.
taking less of a yard. Look, Jalen Hurts is a hard guy to sack in the first place. But Kansas City, with Patrick Mahomes, he's got a bum ankle. He can't move.
Yeah.
You would think that he's going to get bottled up in there. But they're able to just get quick hitters where he can get the ball out of his hand, doesn't have to hold on to it much. And then, look, Mahomes is the best in the business at extending plays,
Yeah.
buying more time in the pocket, getting out of the pocket, making throws where half the time he's not even looking at his target.
It's true.
Throws it sidearm, throws it submarine style. Like, he can throw it from every single angle, and that's what makes him incredible. That's why he is the best quarterback in the league right now.
Exactly.
But the coach makes a big deal, and Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, they got it going on there.
Speaking of Bieniemy, and I know the answer to it, but it still confuses me. Why in the hell would you go interview for the offensive coordinator for the Commanders? And I get that part of it.
Whether
I
he
get that part
stays,
of it.
whether he stays or whether he goes, he's going to make more money now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, because Kansas City, obviously, they want to keep him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? This guy has done it how many years in a row now? He's interviewed for head coaching jobs.
Yeah. No,
and doesn't take them. But he probably ends up with more money in the long run. And I mean, obviously, this guy would be, to me, I mean, with what he's done in Kansas City now, he has a very good team. But with what he's done, he would make it as a head coach. He's got all the credentials to do that. But at the end of the day, you know, you go and be a head coach. We've seen kind of the way that works out. You're going to go coach a really bad team in most situations. Maybe in a year or two, you might not have a job. Mm-hmm. Well, he's got a job here. And it's basically guaranteed to him every single year that Andy Reid's the coach.
Of course.
He's that guy.
But what they're saying is that in Kansas City, he doesn't call the plays, which has come out to say that he does. Mm-hmm. He does. So to kind of beef up his resume to go do it somewhere else out from under Andy Reid could increase his chances of landing a head coach job, which I get it. I get it. But like you pointed out, that team that you're going to go coach doesn't have Patrick Mahomes, doesn't have Travis Kelce. I mean, the Commanders don't even have Carson Wentz.
Sure.
And the kid from North Carolina, they got Scary Terry. Yeah. They've got a good running game.
Yeah, they have some talent there, but is it anything close to?
No.
No. To me, with what I believe out of it is it's all for the money. It's a business move. It's a smart business move. He's done it now. He's interviewed. It's not like this is new to him. He's interviewed in every offseason, but he still always ends up right back in Kansas City. He has, like I said earlier, he has it all to go to the next level and be a head coach somewhere. Obviously, can be an OC. I think probably about anybody in the league would take him as an OC. Sure. But he's guaranteed he's going to keep winning games if he stays right where he's at in that situation where he has those guys on his team and coaching under Andy Reid. Why not stay there?
No, that's the part that baffles me. It's like, okay, you could leave. And I could see it more if he was leaving for a head coaching position, but to go laterally, that doesn't make sense.
To me, there would have to be a substantial amount of money that's thrown out there to make that, to make that worth it. Do I think at the end of the day, do I think he leaves? Absolutely not.
And Kansas City would be absolutely ridiculous not to match or exceed any offer that he gets.
Right. And if he does leave, I think Kansas City's just fine too. They'll find somebody that will take that job. But I get it. On the other side too, of having to maybe get out from under Andy Reid a little bit and try to make a name for himself. We saw that with LaFleur. Yeah. He had to get away. He leaves Atlanta and goes with McVay as the offensive coordinator. And I think there was a lot of the word out there was McVay calls all the plays. Mm-hmm. Well, Matt trusted in himself and knew that he needed to get out from underneath that name and goes to Tennessee as an offensive coordinator. And then that's 1 year after that has his head coaching job. So, I mean, I get it, but I think that you have a guy in LaFleur who wanted to be a head coach, and I think you have a guy in Eric Bieniemy who's probably just fine doing what he's doing. Yeah,
and especially having as much success as they've had. I mean, hell, what did they say? This is Mahomes' 6th year. However, his first year he just started the one game, and they've made it to 5 consecutive AFC Championship games, 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years, and won 2 of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do love Andy Reid's response to the question. Well, Coach, are you going to come back next year? And he goes, if they'll have me, I'll be back. Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, of course.
I believe he's got a job there until he says he's done. Yeah. He's earned that now. Yeah. 2 Super Bowls later, you've earned that right.
Yeah, so, I mean, but it's a total Andy Reid response. And whoever the reporter was that asked him about cheeseburgers, maybe it was Terry Bradshaw, I can't remember. But I thought that was funny, too. Mm. I thought that was funny too. So we've kind of talked about the stats. We kind of talked about how the game went. What was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway on this whole season with Kansas City is you lose Tyreek Hill. How does this offense get better?
And I honestly think the answer to that question is it put Pat Mahomes in a spot where he had to make the players on the team now better, which he did.
Yeah, and you get rid of one who is probably a top 5 receiver in the NFL, probably top 3 playmaker in the NFL.
Yeah,
you get rid of that, but you added 3 wide receivers that are all really good. I mean, they're not Tyreek Hill level, never will be, but they're all very, very solid, very, very good options.
And those 3 guys probably make as much a year as what Tyreek Hill just signed for.
Yes, yeah. Well, probably not even. Yeah. But to me, like what I took out of this whole thing with Kansas City this year, and obviously being the best team in the AFC, going on to win the Super Bowl. When this season started, I did not think that this team would be where they're at.
No one did.
I did not think that Patrick Mahomes would be. Did I think Mahomes was still the best quarterback in the league? Yes. Did I think he would be an MVP caliber, win the MVP this year easy, really no questions asked? No. Not with losing Tyreek Hill. I thought it would maybe take a little bit of time to kind of figure that out. No, this offense hit the ground and like nothing ever happened in the offseason. So that was my biggest takeaway with that game.
And if you rewind to the preseason, or even before the preseason started, we weren't talking about the only thing we were talking about the Chiefs is Tyreek's gone. We were more or less talking about the Raiders reloading, the Broncos getting Russ. Who else is in that division? They got better. Yeah. It was all about, all right, well, everyone in that division. Yeah. It might have surpassed. I mean, there were some folks that were saying the Chiefs would finish last in that division. Yeah. Oh, it's the Chargers. The Chargers. Another year with Herbert and the coach, and it is what it is. It is what it is. But it's still. And Travis Kelce was right. He's like, none of you guys gave us a chance. To be here. Yeah. So I was hoping for another jabroni drop from him because that is just absolutely amazing. And how fun would it be to be like just one of his boys? Yeah. Oh God. That's got to be insane. That's got to be insane.
Yeah. No. And he's like, to me, with what he did in the Super Bowl now, this year, just last weekend, and I said it 2 weeks ago before this game was even played. I said he's the best tight end. He's the GOAT now. He is the fucking GOAT now. And
he is, as far as that's concerned. I mean, if the Chiefs make the playoffs again next year, I have a feeling he'll own every tight end record for the postseason for sure. Yeah. And how many more years does he have left? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
And that's the thing. Like when you start talking, kind of making the comparison, because I think the only other tight end that you really could compare is Gronk with him. And I love Gronk. I mean, I'm here for that shit. I love everything about Gronk. Yeah. But durability. Travis Kelce has been durable. He's on the field every Sunday. He does not miss games. And with Gronk, if you could go back through, into some of the big games of the season, the Super Bowl, he wasn't healthy. Yeah. It was always battling through injuries. He missed a lot of games. He missed a lot of time.
He was born in '89, by the way.
Yeah. Was never able to stay healthy. But Travis Kelce just seems like he has his biggest games in the biggest moments of the season. And to me, that's what gives him the edge there. Yeah. You want to talk about a full tight end, blocking, doing everything like that. Yeah, Gronk's probably the guy. But Travis Kelce's not only the best tight end in the league right now, but you can make a case that he's a top 2-3 receiver in the NFL.
Absolutely. Buddy Andrew, ayo, I was literally off my pick by 1 point.
Well, I think I picked Chiefs 31, Eagles 27, I believe, is what I texted in that night. And at one time, that's what the score of the game was. Yeah.
Wasn't it you a couple years ago that literally?
No, I had guessed the score last year's Super Bowl if the fucking guy for the Rams doesn't miss the extra point.
That's right.
Yeah, I guessed 24-20, and the game ended up 23-20. It fucking pissed me off.
We got another comment here. Again, if you are on Facebook, click that link so Ecamm can grab your name and your profile picture like Andy did. It says Eagles going to have to make moves in the offseason for me to believe. Cox, Hargrave, and I think Graham are free agents, and the Davis can pass, run with coaching. Still needs a lot of work. D starts up front for them. Oh, I can't.
And the two, they lost both their coordinators.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge, and we'll get into more of that when we get into the 2023 here. But I totally agree. I just a little foreshadowing is I think the Eagles are going to have an easier time getting back to the Super Bowl.
Well, the thing is the Eagles don't have to go through that quarterback gauntlet that the AFC, teams in the AFC have to go through. But defense, they're going to have to figure things out. But these guys, this offense they're pretty much all. I mean, when you start talking about major playmakers on the offense, they're all coming back. It's the coordinators that they're going to have to try to figure it out there.
Yeah, and that to me that's really scary. Losing both the offensive and defensive coordinator. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, you're a product of your own success. I mean,
this isn't a. A lot of times when you look, when you're good, you're gonna lose staff members. Mm-hmm. When you have a good team, teams are gonna start. They're gonna notice it, and they're gonna start taking guys from your staff, and that's just gonna happen. But this Eagles staff is a staff that hasn't really been along for a long time. This is a very fresh thing that's been put together here, and so these guys. It's not like you have this other guy that's been working under this guy for some time now. It's you maybe there's a possibility you're going to have to go elsewhere and look for a whole different guy. I don't know. I don't follow the Eagles enough to know is their quarterback coach somebody that can step in. I don't know that, but we're about to find out.
Yeah, and kind of the part that stinks too is you did make it to the Super Bowl, which is awesome, but when you do lose coordinators, you lose them late in the game. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you could pick up, and
a lot of big names have already moved, already been in contact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think all the Indianapolis Colts fans and all the Cardinals fans are like, we don't have a fucking coach. Well, this is why.
I think it was pretty obvious, especially leading up to the week before the Super Bowl, where those guys were going.
Yeah, it was just which one's going where.
Exactly.
Which one's going where. Well, 2Ks, let's talk a little bit about the commercials. I think we kind of alluded to it. Usually this is, I know for my wife, she loves the commercials, and I do too. Mm-hmm. But normally there's kind of one you can take away that is the most memorable. I mean, if you go back to the Budweiser frogs, and it's usually a Budweiser ad.
Sure.
I mean, even the Clydesdales, you name it. Doritos usually has a pretty big banger in there. There really wasn't any. I was rather disappointed. Did freak out when the one, what was it, Tubi or whatever? Took over the TV.
Yes, I did too. And I really didn't even know what was going on. I was kind of like blanked out for a second. I knew something wasn't right, but Chel's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
"Kristen said the same thing to me." I'm like,
"Nothing.
I'm not touching anything."
Because I always have the remote in my hand, so I'm the first one to get blamed. I'm like, "I'm not doing shit."
No. It's like, I promise. In our house, it's usually the dogs that have stepped on it or laid on it or something, and I'm like, no, the dogs aren't even on the couch. So yeah, the commercial itself was memorable, but like I said, I couldn't even tell you what they were pubbing. And what's crazy to me is these companies paid a boatload of money for this, and it seems like they just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And we talk about it all the time in my office because I'm an insurance agent, and there's not a lot of good insurance ads. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the ad agencies are going towards, well, if we're annoying and stupid, people will actually remember us. And it's easier to be annoying and stupid than it is creative and funny. So I think that's kind of the way we're going here. But yeah, I was not impressed. I thought the Kick of Destiny with Gronk was kind of lame. I was kind of expecting more.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be like on a high school field, and it was going to be like a 15-yard field goal. And he really sucks at kicking, by the way. Really sucks at kicking, and especially having Adam Vinatieri as your coach. And Pat McAfee had Vinatieri on the show, and they talked about, and he's like, "Yeah, we're FaceTiming, and I'm coaching him, via Zoom and shit like that." And I'm like, "Holy shit, this guy sucks." We found the one thing in life that Gronk sucks at, and it's broadcast live for I don't know how many million eyes to see, but either way, Gronk, still love you.
Hey, we still all benefited. I mean, if you put a bet in prior to the game, we still all benefited from his kick too. So put that free bet to use.
Which until you and I started talking, I totally forgot that was even there, and I got on my FanDuel account. I'm like, oh shit, I got I got $20. Let's go. Well, 2Ks, we've kind of him-hawed around it. We kind of alluded to it, but it's 2023 NFL. Even though this is 2023, I consider this coming season the 2023 season, even though the Super Bowl will be in 2024. Sure. And it's not like basketball where it's the 23-24 season. So I honestly think that the Eagles are going to be just fine. That is our boy Adam Zeed, the Facebook user. I do agree with Adam. They do have some house cleaning to do. They do have a lot of needs that need to be met, and they just played in the Super Bowl. So even though if you win a Super Bowl, your price tag goes up. When you play in a Super Bowl, your price tag goes up too. So I have no idea where they're at as far as cap-wise. I do think that they'd be absolutely silly to not start negotiations to extend Jalen Hurts. I do not think this year is a fluke.
No,
I don't
think so either. No,
I do not. And of course, the comparisons to him and Lamar Jackson, I mean, are right. I mean, they're pretty comparable. But I think what sets Jalen apart from him,
Hurts is a way better thrower.
Yes. Is he as fast? No. You don't need
more
to be
powerful.
Fast. Oh yeah.
More durable.
Dude squats like 700 pounds.
Yeah. How many times did they just run a quarterback sneak in this game? And
too many
convert it every single time. I mean, this is a team that they're so hard to prepare for and they're so hard to defend because they're going to go for it about every time on fourth down. Unless they're pinned and they can't, way back on the opposite side of the field, they're going for it. They get around the 40, 50-yard line, they're going for it every single time. And when you have that as your quarterback and an offensive line that just fucking mauls every single time, why not?
And Adam, I think the one person you left off that list that I think is going to be extremely key to this is Jason Kelce.
Sure.
He's the one that is I've never seen a center move like this dude. I honestly think that if he didn't want to be a center, could be a tight end just like his brother. Not nearly as fast, but the way they're built right now. Obviously, Travis is a little bit more lean, but this dude is probably the most athletic lineman I've ever seen. To me, he's the one. He's the straw that stirs the drink. Yes, Jalen gets all the hype, rightfully so. He's the one that's pulling the trigger every single time. But it starts up front. Adam, you're right. It does start with the line. And I think it starts with Kelce. Sirianni had to send a whole shit ton of beer over to his house to get him to not retire for this year. And if you remember, Kelce was a part of the last Eagles Super Bowl. Remember the whole Mardi Gras outfit, completely hammered at the which I was hoping that would make a comeback if the Eagles won, because that would have been awesome, or just compound into that. And that was my hope if the Eagles won. But and even with the Chiefs, they've got a lot of holes, a lot of free agents that they need filled. Granted, not as many of them that are their left tackle is probably priority number one for this team.
Sure.
Which we've seen the last two Super Bowls that Mahomes has played in getting banged up, even before the Super Bowl. So, I mean, to me, that's key. That's key. John Clemick says, Tyler Lindenbaum. Foosballs for the devil. But yeah, as far as these two teams, I think they have. Look, it's the offseason. Every team has free agents. Every team's going to have holes to fill. But I think that we kind of mentioned it. The Eagles have an easier path back to the Super Bowl as it sits now.
Sure.
As it sits now. There's still a lot of free agency and draft and everything else that.
But they don't have to go through the quarterbacks.
Exactly.
That's where with Mahomes is the best out of all of them, and I think the Chiefs are the team to beat in that league. Obviously, coming off of the Super Bowl, but Josh Allen, you got to think he's going to be right back there again.
Oh, yeah.
Buffalo's going to be another really good team. Joe Burrow, they've already beat the Chiefs. They've had the better side. They've come out on the better side of that matchup more than the Chiefs have. Other than this year, so they're going to be right back there. Trevor Lawrence is that team is getting a lot better. I think they're probably still a little bit away from being able to compete on that level.
Speaking
but
of that,
they're close.
Calvin Ridley applied for reinstatement.
That'd be a big.
Good for you, pal. Good for you.
Yeah, we got guys that are playing coming off of all kinds of different charges, but Calvin Ridley's sitting out more time than anybody coming off of gambling on some game that. What a fucking joke. But that's a huge addition to a team that was very, very good this year.
Yeah.
And I said a couple weeks ago, that's a team that they really need that guy to go to. Calvin Ridley's that caliber player. He could be that guy. Now he's been out of the game now for a while. Who knows what we're going to get back? But that's the talent that needs to be there for Trevor Lawrence to go from here to here.
Absolutely. So, and we've just the 1 year. From last year to this year. If it wasn't for Jalen Hurts making his big adjustments and step forward, Lawrence is right there.
Yeah.
Lawrence is right there. And that's a team that's scary.
And correct me if I'm wrong, kind of changing the subject a little bit, going to a different team, but going back to the Eagles. Don't the Eagles have like a top 10 draft pick?
I think so.
Because of trade? Because of a trade, I think. I haven't really followed it all that much, but I think they have like a top 10 pick. So, I mean, there's another where they're in a really good situation where if they got one of these guys that's coming off the books that they don't want to pay the money for or whatever, top 10 pick probably get it done. So
and this is not a dud draft. I mean, I want to say that of course tis the season to mock draft right now.
Especially because 3 picks in that top 10 are going to go quarterback. Four picks going to go top quarterback, and so. Right there, that tells you that not the best players. There's going to be a lot of players that are probably better than them, higher than them on the board that are going to be available to you.
Now, Andrew asked us, "What are the Packers going to do?" Well, I'm sure we'll touch on that, but let's stay in the division. Speaking of draft picks, what are the Bears going to do? Again, the conversation is heating up. Do they trade Justin Fields? And I just don't understand what are you going to get out of him? I don't know.
Because this is a guy that you obviously thought a lot of because you traded it up and used a first round pick on this guy.
And he finally got to show this year what he can do with a shitty team.
Yeah. No receivers.
Horrible offensive line. Couple good running backs.
I don't know. And the thing is, I don't want to just write this guy off because, I could have easily wrote off Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And the improvement that he made in basically one off season and getting the right coaching staff around him. I always knew Jalen Hurts could run, just like I've always known Justin Fields can run. It's can you throw the ball? Well, Jalen Hurts showed this year that he can throw the ball, and him throwing the ball the way that he did only made him a better runner.
Absolutely.
Can Justin Fields make that jump? Can he become a better thrower of the football? The case is out there. I don't know. I don't think the Bears have more cap space than anybody. The Bears have draft capital out the ass. They have the first pick of the draft. To me, you hold on to him.
Yeah.
If you make this move now, I don't think you're going to get in return what people might think that they're going to get out of a Justin Fields just because he hasn't really proven shit. I don't know. I don't know what you do there. And you have to, if you're going to go quarterback and you're going to trade him and switch it up, you have to think really, really highly of one of these kids coming out.
John Clemming says lose. The Packers are going to lose.
I don't think the Packers are going to lose.
He also said, got to keep Fields. Trade away that number one.
Yeah.
And John, I agree with you because they have so many holes to fill.
Yeah.
And it's...
How do you? It makes you look bad. You draft this. You trade up. You draft Fields, and then you give up on him after 2 years. And that 2 years of look, there's not a quarterback in the league that's going to really solve what they went through these last couple years. So, to me, it makes you look like shit by doing it, by giving up. It kind of goes back on everything that you tried to start there.
Yeah. And we're doing well towards the end of the season.
I mean,
it was just the defense was terrible.
Yeah. If one of these quarterbacks just completely blows your mind. Then yeah, I mean, if there's a Joe Burrow style caliber quarterback coming out of the draft that just completely blows your mind, all right, maybe I'm thinking about that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, right, these quarterbacks that are coming out, do I think that they have a chance to be really good? Yeah. Do I think that they have a chance to be talked about as top 5 quarterbacks in year 2 of their career?
No, I don't.
I don't think so.
I don't. Yeah, to me, Fields is more of a proven commodity. Could C.J. Stroud do the same thing? Yeah, he could. Could Bryce Young do the same thing?
Could.
Bryce Young scares me because he's tiny.
He's tiny. They all scare me a little bit. There's not that sure thing. No. Trevor Lawrence coming out he was pretty much a sure thing. Like, this guy was going to be good. He's done nothing but win. College level, the high school level, he
just went to Urbanville.
Yeah, he went to just a complete shit show. Joe Burrow, from the day he stepped into the league, it was like, this kid has it. He is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the league his entire career. And you knew that. Mm-hmm. We don't know that with these kids. And could they shock us? Could they surprise us? Absolutely.
And no one could smoke a cigar after a victory better than Joe Burrow. Yeah. Joe, how long is your window in the NFL? As long as I'm fucking playing. Give me that guy.
And the cases out there with Burrow too is not every quarterback at the college level is blessed with what Burrow had at LSU.
No.
You have the 2 wide receivers on the same team. And they're probably the 2 best wide receivers in the NFL right now. So
well, I mean, Justin Jefferson is.
Yeah.
I think is.
I think Jefferson is too, and I think Jamar Chase honestly is number 2.
Yeah. John says, drop the number 1, trade down to 6 or 7 where you can grab an edge. As for that second, third picks in the trade to fill the roster, then spend that money. Amen, brother. Amen. Yeah. Which it's still way too early to really deep dive into free agency right now.
It's an interesting division, though, to talk about. The Vikings are going to be good.
The Lions are
are up and coming.
Who knows what the fuck's happening in Green Bay?
Kind of the juggernaut, who has dominated that conference for so long now, is kind of on there. What's happening there? We don't. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be back? We don't know that. It's going to be a typical offseason that we've had the last 3 years with Aaron Rodgers kind of holding us all.
He's in darkness retreat right now.
Yeah. So we don't know what's going on there. We do know that Green Bay's probably going to do nothing to help him offensively. They'll draft all defense and do what they do, typically. What's going to make me laugh is if Aaron Rodgers goes, they give up on him, and then they hit receivers in this draft, which they do. They need to. Mm-hmm. I mean, Christian Watson had a great year. I think he's going to be very, very good.
Romeo Doubs.
But they need more. They need more help.
They need that number 1 in that room, regardless of who's quarterback. Yeah. But probably more importantly, need that if Jordan Love is there.
They traded Devontae, and they had that oh shit moment about week 1, 2, 3 into the season. It was like, oh fuck, that guy was pretty damn good.
Yeah. John says now the Rodgers trade that could derail the whole damn league. Yeah, I mean, but he also says Rodgers to the AFC, which I think that's part of. I think the contingency, I guess, is that.
To me, it's a bad move. If Rodgers' plan is to try to win another Super Bowl, that's a bad move.
Oh yeah, but if you're the Packers, do you really want to? Which I totally agree with AJ Hawk's perception in this. He's like, all right, well, if you trade him in the division, or obviously in the division, you're guaranteed to face him twice a year.
Sure,
but. If you trade him within the NFC, you're going to have to beat them to get to the Super Bowl. Well, if you trade him to the AFC and you meet, you're going to be in the Super Bowl anyway. So you're going to have to beat him. You're going to have to face him regardless.
Sure.
So is it more likely to face him further down the road in the playoffs, or earlier in the playoffs, I should say? Sure. But him to the Jets, the Jets have that really young
defense.
Really young defense, really young. I mean, Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson,
stud. Yeah. Brees Hall, stud. Mm-hmm. Wish he wouldn't have gotten hurt. Mm-hmm. Sure, all of his fantasy owners wish he wouldn't have gotten hurt either. Yeah. But I mean, that's a decent squad.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, to me, that's kind of all. Him to San Francisco is ridiculous. I guess him to Vegas maybe.
Yeah, I link back up with Devontae. I could see that, as a possibility, moving back towards, where he's from.
Which
makes sense.
That offense, I mean, that can be really scary too.
Sure.
And
John any offense that has any bit of talent at all, you add an Aaron Rodgers to it, and you're making.
John says Jets, Raiders, Titans.
Yeah.
And John, the part with the Titans that scares me is you're kind of going back to something similar, which you already are in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. The wide receiver, I don't know if A.J. Brown was still there. Mm-hmm. Sure. But the way the roster is now, I mean, there's a reason why Tannehill's there. Mm-hmm. And you still have Derrick Henry. Don't get me wrong. You still have a very good offensive line. But as far as the cupboard being bare, as far as receivers go, I mean, the kid that
the rookie that Burks he was solid, but they don't have that wide receiver room's worse than what he has in Green Bay.
That's what I'm saying. Mm. And you can kind of put together Dillon and Jones, and you'll get Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, not that wide receiver room is very good in Green Bay, but he's got a year now with them. And there was major improvements. The second half of the season, we were talking about it. Let's not forget that with this Green Bay team, prior to the loss to the Lions, we were talking about them as being one of the hottest teams in the NFL going towards the playoffs. If they win, beat the Lions, and they get in,
no one wants to play them.
You want to face Aaron Rodgers? I mean, there's a lot of other options I'd rather take than have to take Aaron Rodgers in the first round of the playoffs. Yeah. So they got a lot better, but. He leaves and goes to a team like Tennessee. I just think nothing's going to happen in year one. Like it's going to take it's going to take a lot of time, and I don't think Rodgers is willing to put in a lot of time right now anymore in his career. I think he wants to go, and if he does come back, look, there's a good possibility he doesn't come back. I think.
I just going off the him on Pat's show. I think he's back. Mm-hmm. I think he's back, and I honestly, and to answer your question, Andrew, I think he's back with the Packers. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you,
I think so. At the end of the day, I don't think he goes.
Because he himself saw what Brett Favre put this organization and fan base through, and I think he's kind of going down that road.
Yeah.
So, but I honestly think he would hang him up before he went and played for another team. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think my thing is if Rodgers leaves, I don't think it's going to be his choice. Mm-hmm. It's going to be that's what Green Bay wants to do. Yeah. They're ready to move on with Love, and they're ready to start this next era of Green Bay football. Do I see that happening? I still think we're a year or two away from that.
Yeah.
I think Rodgers, after everything goes on and on this whole offseason, because that's what the last 2 offseasons has been. I think at the end of the day, Green Bay still has number 12 suiting up, starting quarterback next year.
Yep, I 100% agree. 100% agree.
And honestly, if number 12, this is my question for you. If number 12 is starting in Green Bay, we don't even know what's going to happen this offseason as far as other moves. But if Rodgers is starting at quarterback for Green Bay, I have to believe they're the favorite to win that conference.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
The Vikings are still really good, but the Vikings were they were so inconsistent. I mean, there was nothing consistent about them. They played, to me, they had a little bit, their record was a fluke this year. They fell behind in a lot of games. They were able to come back. I mean, I remember watching the Colts game where they come back and being down by 30-something. But it seemed like they were constantly playing from behind, and that's not the recipe that's the recipe for disaster. It worked out for them this year, and they were able to win games, but to me, if I'm betting money and putting money on the line, I'm taking Rodgers over Kirk Cousins in that situation all day. Lions, there's a lot of I'm interested in the Lions because they're up and coming, but I don't know.
Their coach is an electric factory.
Yeah, their players have bought into it.
Yeah.
And Jared Goff coming off of probably the best season of his career. And there's a lot of good things happening in Detroit, but I'm still not ready to put my betting money on them over Green Bay yet. And then the Bears are, to me, they're the bottom.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they do in the draft, the offseason, how much money they pay, they're still the bottom team in that.
John says Raiders have the 7th pick. Tennessee has the 11th. Wide receiver is somewhat deep this draft class. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. 2Ks. We could honestly sit here and prognosticate about what we think is going to happen next year's season, but we've got plenty of off season to do that. So let's not blow our load all at one time. And let's be honest, everything that we're talking about could change tomorrow. You never know. Never know. So 2K Crew, our newest segment, our top 5 list, and this week's topic is top 5 sports movies. I think you went first last time, 2K, so I'll go first this week. My number 5. Now, granted, I didn't specifically say this, but it's more top 5 because you could go back and Raging Bull, some of the black and white movies. I probably haven't watched them. I have watched the original Bad News Bears, but that's about it. But my number 5, White Men Can't Jump.
Good pick.
Love that movie.
That's honorable mention on mine.
Billy Ho. God damn it, Billy! I can't believe you lost the goddamn money.
How about we'll go. You do your 5, I'll do my 5, and we'll just keep going. We'll sit on there.
What's your number 5?
Top 5. I've kind of went back and forth all day on this, and I think when I first got here, I said something different, but now I'm switching it up. Top 5. My number 5. Now they've had multiple movies. Mighty Ducks.
I dig it.
Mighty Ducks, man.
Which I guarantee. I don't know if I think I've only seen like the first couple.
Yeah.
But they probably had 4 or 5 and.
No, to me,
Gordon Bombay is still probably coming back.
Yes, I remember being 9, 10 years old, and at that age, you have 5 of your buddies. We're all sleep over, and we're watching the Mighty Ducks, and the next thing you know, we're all putting rollerblades on and heading to the garage and just taking slap shots at normally Smitty. And some of my greatest childhood memories come from that movie. We watched that movie I think every Saturday night, and then. Out in the garage playing until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, until my dad comes stomping out into the fucking garage, pissed off because we're still out there taking slap shots.
Now, are you going the first one's the OG?
Oh yeah, that's kind of the story with all movies for the most part, but yeah.
I can get down with that. I can get down, and the whole franchise is one movie. I'll take that. What's your number 4?
Number 4, Major Leagues.
Major League, love it.
Yeah, Euchre. Just some of the one-liners in that movie. Fucking Charlie Sheen, Wild Thing.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah,
that's one of those movies that I could probably still, even though I haven't seen it in quite a while, recite it top to bottom without a script.
Yes, I can. Same way, but the thing is, I can go back and watch that movie and catch shit that I didn't catch the first time I watched it or the second time I watched it. And still laugh at it like it's the first time I've ever watched it. And the thing is, that with that movie, I sit there and I laugh through the whole thing, and Chella just sits there and doesn't even react and just looks at me like I'm an idiot. And I'm like, you don't understand. Love that movie. Yeah, that's my number 4. You may run
like Maze, but you hit like shit. My number 4 is Remember the Titans. It's an awesome flick. It's just a classic movie. Sure. I don't even care if you're a football fan. If you're a sports fan, everyone loves that movie. Mm-hmm. Everyone loves that movie. My number 3, Field of Dreams.
Good movie.
Field of Dreams. That especially now with the Field of Dreams game, we get to see it a little bit more. Another Kevin Costner movie that did not make the cut but was very close was Tin Cup. Mm-hmm. Love Tin Cup. Yeah, that's my number 3. What's
Kevin,
yours?
Kevin Costner played in some really, really good sports movies.
Oh yeah. Bull
Yeah.
Durham.
Yeah.
Bull Durham's another good one.
What was the one where the rookie when he tried making his comeback or whatever? Yeah, that was a good one too. But no, my number 3, I'm with you. Remember the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just not so much. You're gonna kind of see in my list that comedy was I kind of tend to fall towards the comedy of movies, and this one really doesn't fall in that category. But yeah, remember the Titans. To me, that's like a movie that's probably in just about everybody's top 5.
And I will throw out a teaser here. Another one that did not make my list, but probably should, is Varsity Blues.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I mean, Varsity Blues is, what did my buddy say? It's a cinematic feature, not a movie. That's how highly he thinks of that. But what's your number 2?
Caddyshack.
No.
Love Caddyshack. That's another movie where I could probably recite about every single line, but at the same time, like, I think it's a movie that only guys laugh at. I think if a woman was to watch it, they probably are like, "What? This is fucking stupid."
Right.
And like I was going over this list a little bit with Chell before I came up here, and she was like, "I've never even watched the movie," and I'm like, You haven't watched fucking Caddyshack?
You've been married to me how long, and we've never watched this movie?
I'm like, you got to be shitting me. But no, that's bad. As far as the comedy goes, that's my top comedy movie in my top 5. I just.
John says, for the love of the game, the rookie was Dennis Quaid. Come on, man. Fuck, you're right. You are right.
Well, I'm thinking of a different movie then, because there's another Costner movie.
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year.
That wasn't Costner. No. My number 2, Sandlot. And as you can tell, I'm obviously a huge baseball fan, so baseball's kind of invaded my top 5. But yeah, I mean, Sandlot's a movie. I don't care what you're doing, what time of day it is, what day it is. Wherever you get it, you watch it through.
Yep.
You watch it through. It doesn't matter if it's on repeat, like the Christmas Story on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. They could do that every opening day for baseball, and I would probably watch it again and again and again and again. Well, drum roll. My number 1 sports movie of all time, Major League. We already talked about it. I know that movie front and back, inside and out. That was, I remember watching that the first time at my buddy Jeremy's house, and we had to have his mom rent it for us because it was rated R, and it was and she looked at us like, okay, why is a sports movie rated R? Well, it's for the language and a bunch of other shit, but yeah. To me, that's priceless. It's a classic. It's something that not only baseball fans, but I'm pretty sure all sports fans appreciate it. When I was putting this list together, I was doing a little research, and I think I closed it out. I did, but this was it was like Paramount Movies or some shit. What I was on, and they had Major League at 25. I'm like, that's a goddamn travesty. Goddamn travesty. Well, 2Ks.
You already said my top. Sandlot.
Bam.
You go back to my story with the Mighty Ducks. Like us kids got together and played baseball the same way that they played baseball in the movie Sandlot growing up. Yeah, I mean that's what does it for me. I mean, it was very rare that you would ever see, like, I mean, I talk about some of my closest friends, Christian, Smitty, Jake Menzel, all those guys. You didn't see us when we were growing up without a baseball bat, without a basketball in our hand, without a hockey stick. We were always doing something, and most of the time we were always playing baseball, wiffle ball.
Yeah.
Something, but it was some type of a sport that we were playing, we were competing against. We were normally fighting with each other throughout the whole thing, but then at the end of the night, we were all best friends.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, like that movie, I watched that movie to this day. My kids, that's probably, if you were to ask my daughter Nora what her favorite movie is, I guarantee you she would say that. And so, yeah, I love that movie.
That's kind of shocking coming from Norma Jean McBeauty Queen.
Yeah. No, she loves it. She loves the movie. I think Benny the Jet Rodriguez might be maybe the top reason why she likes it, but hey, she loves
whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Adam Z texts me and says the program. That was it. Adam, do you remember that movie came out and they had to, and all the high school kids were laying on the lines on the roads. Do you remember that shit? That was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. But yes, another really good movie. Probably one of the first sports movies I saw where, I mean, obvious steroid use was being used. Yeah, Adam said they ended up editing it out, which is right. But yeah, if you saw that in the theaters, like opening weekend or opening week, yeah, that was the big thing, and because part of I want to say, and Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, it was like initiation onto the varsity football team is you had to go lay on the lines on the road, and let cars go by. Well, obviously, the monkey see, monkey do society we live in, there were actually kids hurt doing that. So they actually had to pull the movie, edit that scene out, and then reissue it. So yeah, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. But yeah, that was a crazy, crazy time, and an awesome movie. Awesome movie. But yeah, another one is shit. What's the one with the left tackle?
Oh, Blindside.
Blindside, that's right. It's one of my wife's favorite movies.
That's a good movie. That's a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing wrong with Will Sanders. Bullet flick.
Miracle was another movie that I left out that I really enjoyed.
Yes.
Based on a true story, obviously, but just the underdog, you know. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like they were full of a bunch of professionals. It was a bunch of amateur players, and to put that team together and go out and beat the Soviets, that was a really good movie. Mm-hmm. That was one I wanted to have in the top 5, but when you start trying to pick just your top 5, to me, kind of the comedy movies kind of take the cake on that for me. Well,
that's why I wanted to do a top 5 instead of top 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're definitely. I don't care what you're talking about, top 5, whatever. There's going to be some bangers at 6, 7, and 8.
Sure.
You know, so nothing wrong with leaving a movie out. Nothing wrong, but those are our top 5s. What's yours? Let us know in the comments. 2K Crew. I think it's about that time. 2Ks, you got anything else we want to add here, brother?
No.
All right. And if you guys have any suggestions for next week's top 5, go ahead and drop a comment and let us know. It doesn't have to be sports related. I'm just going to throw that out there. Mm-hmm. It helps because we're a sports show, but doesn't have to be sports related. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you try to, we're not ranking top 5 Detroit Lions of all time. Yeah. Not going to do that. Because it's going to be Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson. So there's my top 5 Lions of all time. But and anything creative. So leave it up to you, 2K Crew. I do have a couple in the bag, but if we do use yours, I'll definitely give you a shout. Well, 2K Crew, like I said, it's about that time. We're going to let you guys get out of here. Everyone have a fantastic weekend. Looks like the weather's going to be sunny and awesome Saturday and Sunday, so get out there and enjoy it, and we will see you next week. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.